So, my dear Sagittarius, the path continues. We have behind the sun the constellation Scorpio, and behind the moon the constellation Sagittarius. Together, they are bringing to us the blending after we have let go. And I place you to the left because we're going to your new moon. We're going to the left. We're going back within to the dark and plant a seed, right? And so here we can see how the bird is looking into this peaceful moment where she is blending the masculine and the feminine here in this beautiful card, right? And the blending is then bringing us to the 5, because the 1 and the 4 is the magic in new beginnings in the 4 elements, and then out of that we get the 5th element. And here the magic is to recognize after we let go there is a new birth. For Scorpio, the Scorpio pose, of course, bringing the feet above our head and really transforming. And for you, it is Paschimottanasana, going deep within and seeing that I am big, that I am the angel, because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is that ideal that we want to achieve, right? We're going as far out as possible, and that's where the idea comes: higher, bigger, richer, etc., right? That is all Jupiter energy. Now here Pluto is of course ruling Scorpio, and Pluto is all about the shadow side, and also to see that out of the shadow side the mystic is born, and the mystic is what of course occupies. Now Pluto, which is also connected with the last judgment, the number 20 in the major arcana, is going next year 2024 into the sign Aquarius. It is right now in Capricorn, and it's going into the sign of Aquarius. So there is going to be a huge shift, and we're going to have a look at that as well. So this moment is very special. It exists only once a year, and when we put the other planets to it, then it's just once in a lifetime moment that is happening here today. Your court card is in Medicine Woman Tarot, the totem of pipes, the eagle, the flyers. This bird goes really high, and it's of course clear that you are ready to take a bigger perspective, right? Because you're the 9th house of philosophy, and the 9th house of philosophy, we have to take a bird perspective of life. Otherwise we cannot be a philosopher, right? Is your birthday between November 13 and December 11th, then is this your court card? And if not, you can always look in the description below. I have listed there all the cards that I'm using, all the dates, and of course also on what position the card comes up. Back to the last reading where you had Libra Sun giving Sagittarius Moon the light. A feeling of completion is witnessed while diving deeper into your task. Now I'm adding arrows so you know that we're reading to the left, that we're going to the new moon slowly, right? Every month the moon is a little less, and so then after the full moon we go to the right again. Then you will see it on the arrow. So you see, right? You're diving deep and you are completing something. And yeah, it's really beautiful to see now how the to the right and to the left energies, how different they are, right? Because to the left is the soul path, and to the right is that human path, which I combine with the full and the new moon. On the position of the judgment or the discernment, this is also our call or our calling, right? I'm going to pick one more card, which is the Lifruma Healing Oracle. Here we have the rune alphabet in it, and that's why I'm wanting to have a look. What is the calling, particularly also through Pluto, which is also ruling Scorpio? And so you have today a very important message coming through here this moment. So this is the card, the number 15, and it's called Elk's Protection. Very beautiful, look at that. So we see here the hexagram, and the hexagram is always then the 6 that comes out of the 15. So here you have the 5, because you become the 5, right? The 14 becomes the 5. So the 5 is in here, and the 1. The 1 is always that new beginning of recognizing now the 5 senses. With then the 6, we get the 6th sense, right? The third eye. So I'm gonna read it to you. Bugle calls, communication rules, listening is key to understanding. Elk command respect to protect anything. Is that a vocal fawning or defensive warning? Hark. Elk can bark, chirp, whistle, mew, bray, bleat, sing, scream, and chuckle. Can you call an elk to find your voice and stand your ground? These are really funny, these cards. I really love them because it's just the way he explains the card is sometimes very eclectic and really out there. But I see that you're called here to witness something, a higher consciousness, because the 15 and the 20 is then the 35, and the 35 then becomes an 8. And the 8 is the strength that we gain when we really go for that call, that inner knowing that something deep in us, high up in our highest consciousness, is calling us, right? To talk to spirit, to live in that realm of beauty and love, and also, of course, the mysticism. A mysticism that when we look at this card, right, then we don't think of Pluto as something really negative. The shadow side is just the night, right? It's just the opposite of the light. And so something is really coming to you and saying, hey, have a look, because this is important. This is the elk. This is an animal, and you see it here, right, in the shadow underneath, but he has this above his head. So the 8 is coming here to you, and of course we're going to have a look. Also the 6, of course, is here, and we're going to have a look now how this is going to tie in with the rest of the reading. So I am reading to the left, right, just that you know, and on the position of the Fool here, right? Here this Fool is planting a seed, comes the 10 of Wands. And the 10 of Wands is connected with Saturn in Sagittarius. And Saturn is the one that is giving us boundaries and lessons. And for some reason, you're doing too much. For some reason, you are pushing yourself to a moment where you are arriving at the 10, because the 10 and the 0 is 100, and it's almost like you want to show that you can do 100%, but do it not because you want to show off. Do it because it's something you want to do. And it's almost like all these seeds, right? I believe there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seeds. And I believe that you are seeing now the action that you're taking, right? Particularly because the Fool is connected with Uranus, and Uranus is that new beginning. Be careful that you don't begin with, let's say, an overly eager doing, right? Do it from the heart and do it in such a way because you learned the lesson. And you see there's a beautiful pattern coming now through the 10 of Wands, right? And recognize that this pattern doesn't have to suppress you, right? It's almost like you created something that is beautiful, but it also took its toll from you, right? It's a lot of work what you put in here to make this happen. On the position of the Magician, he is the resources comes the Ancient Ones. So here we have a 1, a 1, and a 1, right? And 3 times 1 is instantly feel empowered because the Ancient Ones are watching. The Ancient Ones are here. The Magician is bringing to you the understanding that you are protected by the Ancient Ones. Now, the Magician is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the language, is your mind and understanding all of that. I wanted to see now what the Ancient Ones want to tell you. And up came the Shaman of Cups. That's a Scorpio. And so the Ancient Ones are letting you know that there is a Scorpio watching over you, protecting you, leading you, guiding you, because he is the 8th zodiac sign. And so the 8 is that infinite knowledge that we understand when we come to a place where we know there are animals protecting us, right? There is now an elk bringing you here the protection. And here the 8 is also letting you know, yes, you are protected. And he is the one that is actually cooking and brewing, like in Asterix and Obelix, the magician that brought that brew together to give you that extra strength, to give you that extra power, right? So that you can see here that you are being guided and being led, right? Because otherwise you push yourself to the brink of total exhaustion. So there's a Scorpio in your life that is letting you know, I am watching over you, I am with you. On the position of the High Priestess, she's the seeker, comes 5 of Pentacles, and that's always connected with the constellation Mercury in Taurus. Now the 2 and the 5 is a 7, and the 7 is the crown chakra, it's also the success through the Cancer, the Chariot, right? So you are learning to understand your intuition, because she seeks constantly that which makes sense to her on the intuitive level, not on the mind level. And you see here that Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, is bringing you a little bit of a difficulty in the finances, right? Not knowing where you belong to, not knowing what it is that you are meant to be doing. But it's important to recognize that you know that you are protected, that you have here the shaman that is watching over you, and that you can hear, see, or seek the through the 5 senses the moment where you can make a decision, I can belong, because the 7 then is the end result of here, the combination, right? So the 7 is always rely not here on what you say or what you have here in the 3rd eye through the 15, right? The 6th chakra. No, go to the 7th chakra by connecting with your intuition. Always listen to that, right? Then on the position of the Empress comes here the star, right? Aquarius, the bounty of hope and liberation and new technology, because the star is also the internet, is all the technology that we are now facing. And so the 17 and the 3 is a 20, and the 20 is of course then the discernment, right? The discernment which brought you the elk, the protection of the elk, right? That you are actually finding an elk so that you can have the voice of an elk, however you then speak about that. And the 5th chakra is speaking what you have learned and realized, right? So the 20 is talking here to you. Now I can also calculate out of this, the 17 here, an 8. The 8 and the 3 creates an 11. Now then it's a portal, right? Now you see how I can have either a 20 or 11. So it's up to you what you feel is what you want to create, right? Because the numbers are able to give us an option to go in all directions. And so you can choose that for yourself while I'm actually explaining you here the cards. And so she gives birth to the plenty, to the baby which is naked. She nourishes that baby and she is giving it the life it needs to bring hope to the earth. Because when you look at your card, right, you are blending the 2 cups, the masculine and the feminine, into each other. Now she is not blending it anymore. She is pouring it into the water and onto earth. And so the difference is that she's now recognizing, hey, I am here for all, right? I am the star. I am the hope, right? And so see for yourself what you want as a number here, right? The 20 or of course the 11. Then on the position of the Temperance, which is in the moon, right, which is in our subconscious, comes here the Apprentice of Pipes, and those are the pages. And that's you. As a young child, you are seeing that you are doing your work, you are being connected to the action that you're taking, and you're facing her, right? It's really interesting. You are wanting to go out with the knowledge that you gained here. And of course, you're the 9th zodiac sign, and here are all 3 fire signs, Aries, Leo, and you, Sagittarius. So the 9 and the 3 is a 12, and the 12 becomes then a 3. The 12 is the Hanged Man. It's the pre-stage of then Scorpio, the death card, right? And so something here is saying you are almost there in recognizing how all of this works and how all of this is functioning. And that's why you want to go out, right? As a young person, we want to go out. We are wanting to experience this world. And so, of course, she is literally looking at her, right? But she's focused. She's concentrated in what she can give to the people. And so the 3 is left here, right? You're in your subconscious, you know, you give birth to new creativity, to the new also beauty, right? Because Aquarius is connected with Uranus, right? And on the position of Uranus came this, the Fool, right? The Fool is letting you know, right? Don't be fooled by thinking that you can just do as much as you think you need to do and want to do. No, sometimes you also need to sit down and be like, okay, I have achieved something. I have achieved what I wanted to achieve, right? Then on the position of the eagle, the flyers, you got the discernment, right? It came up in the center of your reading, so you have the 20 and the 9, which is then an 11 when we calculate it together. So you have then here an 11 portal, right? Because I can calculate here the 20 or the 11. So the discernment is letting you know that you need to look at the elk, really find your voice, really speak about what you know, because here's the base at her throat, and then she goes up to her crown chakra, and she sees from up here the buffalo is coming to her, and that's also a mammal, right? And so the elk is literally saying, here you find your voice, here you are recognizing now that the 11 is a portal, and that you know the way you see philosophy is only from a higher perspective, and that's why you got here the positioning up in your crown chakra, right? Because that's when we see the 20 as a lived intuition. I don't think about the intuition anymore. I live it. I am it. And so you are understanding that, right? You are now recognizing that you really have to find the elk, or also that the social status, the climbing up in the social status, is bringing you the 15, which is Capricorn, right? And it's very interesting because Pluto is still in Capricorn and is going into Aquarius then next year, and you did get Aquarius, right? Which also then turned into a 20 through the Empress. So it's really clear that you are learning now to be in a higher state of consciousness. Then on the position of Scorpio, right? Scorpio is letting you know, then you see the Lovers. Then you see that this 15 becomes a 6, and you have a 6-6 portal, and that you are recognizing now that true self-love is something that you choose, is something that when we transform ourselves, right, we go into the sunset. And you see now in this card that the death card looks completely different than this one here, right? So it's just going to put both above, so you see the difference. And that's why I'm doing all these different decks. But I want to see how they talk to each other, and sometimes really true magic comes up. So learn to understand that the 13 turns into a 4, right? So the 4 and the 6 is a 10 again, right? So the one is talking to you, the one and only, the ancient one, is wanting to let you know that, hey, you know I am protecting you. You know that you are protected by a Scorpio. And so Scorpio is letting you know that there's a lot of ones. So even in this 10, there is a beauty in it, right? Even though it's sometimes also oppression, that you feel oppressed, right? So recognize now that here is a 10, and the Lovers that comes to you through the sun, right? The light that the sun is giving you is our external personality, is what we show to the world. And you want to show to the world now here the Lovers, right? Through Hermine Handel, which I gave Scorpio. So understand that you want to show to the world that your personality has arrived at itself in a self-love. Now, of course, this is connected with Gemini. So maybe there's a Gemini that is helping you to really deeply love yourself, right? And then show that to the world. Then on the position of the moon, the grandmothers here in this deck comes here the 57, the unmarked trail, the revelation. So in your dream you get a revelation. You get here the 18, which becomes the 9, and the 57, the 5, the Hierophant, the 7, the Cancer, right? So here's a Taurus and a Cancer, is then calculated together a 12. Again, the Hanged Man. The 12, which becomes the 3. The 9 and the 3 is a 12, and then of course a 3 is left. So the unmarked trail is about knowing you can do it, knowing that you are pushed now to really truly see who you are, right? And I wanted to see what the oracle card is really wanting to tell you. And here Scorpio came up, right? Again, here the skeleton is put like a womb, like a baby, and is disintegrating, and the snake around it. And of course here, when the card is pointing to the left, there is in your soul something knowing that this unmarked trail is literally, I'm going to put this down for a moment, is literally letting you know that you already got the court card, right, from Scorpio. So there is definitely a Scorpio helping you to go this trail, to go this unmarked path, and that there is a revelation coming to you. Now, because it's pointing to the left, it's saying sometimes you're not really sure, right, about how to go, but you will find it. You will find a way, right? Because by letting go in being perfect, in the imperfection, sometimes the perfection then appears, right? The same way here, this body is placed like a baby in the womb of the mother, right? And so something new can be born out of sometimes realizing, here I am recognizing that I am being protected again and again, right? The protection is coming up. And so recognize that that's coming up in your dream, right? Then on the position of the sun comes here the rebirth, the electricity, the awakening. And so this is, of course, the 19. And we have here the 36, which is the 9. And the 19 becomes a 10. And the 9 and the 10 is a 19 again. And you get clarity, right? By letting go of how perfect things have to be, allow it just to be. You get the 19 and the 10 again. So there is always a 1 talking to you, right? Even though here we have the 3 and the 6. And the 3 and the 6 is always the Empress and the Lovers. And you had the lovers that give you that feeling of like, I'm excited, I am feeling good, everything is functioning the way I imagined my life to function, right? And so you get here the 10. You get the wildness that expresses itself when you feel happy, and particularly in the rebirth. Now here I wanted to know also what the Mother Peace Tarot is saying to this oracle card, and it's the 11. The strength is coming up. Now in this deck, the strength, Leo, becomes 11 and not the 8th card, right? So you again have with the 1 of the 10, 3 times the 1. So you have a lot of 1s, right? You had the 11 here in the center with the 29, 11. And also then, of course, on the Empress, right, you had here, when you calculate the 8 and the 3 and 11. And so the 1 of the 10 here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times is again the success through a Cancer, right? Allowing yourself to open yourself up, because she is sitting here with 12 animal and she's the 13th person. How interesting is that, right? Again, the 13 is coming up. The 13 that is facing this, the soul. You are going to the new moon. You are going now to deep within in the next month, right? That's when you have your new moon, and you are recognizing that there is something talking to you, and that you're finding deep within you the power to really be this wild being. And so understand, right, that you are called to be really yourself, right, to take this path. and to be what you feel like wanting to be, because on the position of the dancer, the world, comes the Pisces, the Knight of Cups, and the 21 is of course then the 3, but he is the 12th zodiac sign, so the reverse, right? Again, the Hanged Man, or then the 3, a 3-3 portal. Know how much you are protected, because here you also had a 3, right? Through the 3 zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and of course you. And so know that everything is speaking through numbers, through signs, because when I close the reading, you see now how the horse is walking into the 10. The 3 and the 10 is creating the 13. That's the 4 left. The 4 is I'm establishing something new in my heart through the 4 elements. And I know that whatever I'm doing, I know that I'm protected. I know that I have the ancient ones here helping me, right? And that I know that I'm protected, right? That I have here a Scorpio, and now you even have a Pisces here helping you to see that you are now understanding how much you want to be a spiritual being, how much you want to use the 6, right, which is the third eye, which is that inner knowing that everything is connected. And so allow that to show to the world and just be this spiritual messenger, right? The 3, the higher consciousness, the 3 that brought also here Aquarius, the 17, the 8, the infinite potential that is waiting for you to be discovered. So I hope I see you in the next reading, because then you get your new moon reading, right? And you're gonna be able to plant a seed. And so I think you are knowing that, right? You can see that, and then you can go out again. After the new moon, it's going out to the full moon again, to the right. So until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.